After months of waiting, the enhanced BBI report is out. Yes, the document seeks to sell the narrative of breaking away from a nation of blood ties to a nation of ideals. Simply put, the BBI seeks to end ethnicity and divisions and instead build a cohesive nation for all. Well, not to mention that the proponents of the document are hardly drinking from the same vessel they use to administer that unity gospel. But that is not the focus for me tonight. Tonight, I want to talk to you, the viewer. See, the advocates of the Building Bridges initiative and those against it say they have your best interest at heart. If you dare ask them, they are quick to say that the whole process is selfless endeavor for your own sake. Well, they could be telling the truth or not, and they have the right to do so, but do not let them do one thing. And I repeat, do not tonight let them do one thing. And that is, do not let them read the document for you. And I say this because back in 2010, many people did not read the constitution that the BBI is planning to amend. At the time, the politicians told you that they had read the constitution and it was fine and not depending on whichever side you are. And many people said if so and so read it, it was well with them. Well, that so and so is the very same person telling you that we need to change it, or the other so says that we do not. In just 10 years, the proponents of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 and their antagonists have flipped goals and their posts in a spectacular fashion. Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta gave their all to have the then Constitution of Kenya 2010 draft passed in 2010 referendum. On the other hand, Deputy President William Ruto was the face of the opposing camp. Today, you better know where the three of them stand. Unlike they did in 2010, they believe this is for your own good. And now that they have come up with a document, please read it. I repeat, read the BBI report, internalize, and make an informed decision. It is for your own good. Lest we find ourselves back here 10 years later with another constitutional amendment, drive that is for, against, and driven by politicians. It is your turn to right the wrongs, and you will only do that by reading the document. And you read that document for your own self. Good evening, that is our voice tonight. This is TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. These are the stories making headlines tonight. Is the COVID-19 curve snapping back? Over 1,000 new infections recorded in a single day as 12 more die. Also tonight, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM and Malindi lawmaker Aisha Jumwa to spend the night in police custody as she awaits for her bail application ruling over murder charges. Ann Wairimu is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi, begins right now. Now, the month of October has seen a record high COVID-19 positivity rate and even deaths. This as the country reported a record 1,068 cases in the last 24 hours, the first of its kind in the last 3 months. And as our reporter Musa Salah explains, the month of October has recorded double the number of cases reported in September.
The country has recorded the highest number of COVID-19 infections in one day. On Thursday, the country reported 1,068 cases, totaling the number of positive cases nationally to 47,212. 290 others were discharged after testing negative, while 12 others succumbed to the virus. This huge positivity rate follows a mass testing exercise conducted by the Nairobi Metropolitan Services on Saturday and Sunday last week. The results of the free mass testing in Nairobi will be announced on Friday. 221 days since the first coronavirus case was reported in the country, and according to the Ministry of Health, the month of October has witnessed double positivity and even death rates. In the month of October, 8,683 cases have been reported so far, a huge number compared to September's 4,328 cases. The total number of deaths in October have also been slightly higher. In the past 22 days, there were 159 COVID-19 related deaths compared to 134 deaths reported in the month of September. This even as 3 schools were closed in Mombasa due to cases of COVID-19 infections. On Wednesday this week, doctors warned of a second wave of COVID-19 infections that might catch the country flat-footed. Already, some counties like Nakuru have expressed concerns over health facilities reaching a breaking point due to high cases of COVID-19 infections. Musa Salah, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta and his co-BBI proponent, ODM leader Raila Odinga, today laid the ground for their BBI campaigns. The two leaders took to Kisumu to storm where they urged Kenyans to read and fully support the report. Mwangi Maina reports.
Yet again, Raila chiding Ruto over the wheelbarrow donations, claiming that the BBI is a dosage required to cure the national unemployment menace.
Ambitions zetu chini kidogo, na sio kusema ya kwamba tunapinga mtu yeyote. Tunasema tunataka Wakenya wote wakuje pamoja.
Lakini hamwezi kuwa bwana Hilton kama mtu anakupatia wewe mkokoteni au wheelbarrow.
The president rallying Kenyans to support the report, in total claiming it is a solution to all the problems ailing the country.
It is a package that is addressing that which ails the Republic of Kenya in the hope of making our country better, in the hope of making our country stronger.
Nataka vile vile kuona kama hakuna mapigano. Kama kuna uchaguzi, hakuna mapigano. Hakuna tear gas.
The duo insisted that the BBI does not intend to create positions for both of them, but to restore peace, unity, and the country's prosperity.
Tunataka kutoa ugonjwa ambao uko katika mwili wa Kenya ukiwa wote, na ndio Kenya isimame imara tukienda mbele.
President Kenyatta also castigated leaders opposing the BBI before reading it. He asked Kenyans to read for themselves to avoid being misled by politicians.
Wengine walikuwa wanapinga hata hawajaona.
Tunakubali tukae pamoja. Tunakubali to support BBI.
The two leaders have held various.
The fate of the implementation of the BBI report will depend on 3 crucial players, among them the citizens, the National Assembly and the Cabinet. While a section of the recommended proposals will have to pass through a national referendum, the fate of the rest of the BBI recommendations lies in the hands of Parliament and the Cabinet. David Mudoka has the details.
Thank you. The back of the implementation of the Building Bridges Initiative report is set to stop with 3 key players, among them citizens, Parliament and the Cabinet. Part of the recommendations is set to go through a national referendum, with Kenyans expected to either vote for or against the BBI proposals. Another section of proposals will be debated in the August House, with MPs expected to pass or decline the proposals, while the other section is set to go through the Cabinet way. Recommendations that will be subjected to a referendum include the introduction of the office of the Prime Minister and 2 deputy Prime Ministers, as well as the creation of the leader of the official opposition, being the person who was the first runners-up in the presidential election. Kenyans will also decide on the creation of a county ward development fund, increment of resources to the counties from the current 15% to at least 35%, introduction of an independent office of the Judiciary Ombudsman, who shall sit on the Judicial Service Commission, and the reformation of the management structure of the Independent Elections and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) through a referendum poll. On the other hand, the Parliament is set to debate on the amendment of the following bills: the Public Finance Laws Bill of 2020, the Prompt Payment Bill of 2020, where the proposed bill provides a legal framework for the prompt payment of invoices for goods and services procured by public entities within 60 days, the Micro and Small Enterprises Amendment Bill of 2020, where BBI seeks to amend the Micro and Small Enterprises Act of 2012 to give youth-owned enterprises a 7-year tax holiday, the Health Amendment Bill of 2020, in which BBI seeks to amend the Health Act to establish the Health Services Commission, the Election Laws Amendment Bill of 2020, where BBI seeks to amend various election-related laws to deliver an electoral system that is transparent, accountable and democratic and promotes the will of the people, as well as the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Amendment Bill of 2020. The official launch of the BBI report has been slated for October 26th at the Bomas of Kenya, Nairobi. David Muthoka, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, still on matters, the BBI, the proposed Building Bridges Initiative, has proposed the creation of an independent judiciary ombudsman to receive inquiries into complaints against judges, registrars, magistrates, and other judicial officers and staff of the judiciary. This report has elicited mixed reactions across the political divide, as our political affairs reporter Elizabeth Mutuku now tells us.
The Building Bridges initiative that was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga has proposed radical changes in the administration of justice, proposing creation of independent office of the Judiciary Ombudsman. The office will receive and conduct inquiries in complaints against judges, magistrates and other judicial officers and staff of the judiciary.
JSC ilivyo sasa hivi, wengi waliopo ni watu ambao tayari wanafanya kazi katika mahakama. Ni mahakimu, ni majaji wa mahakama ya juu, mahakama ya rufaa na pia mahakama ya Supreme Court. Kwa hivyo hawa majaji inaonekana wazi kwamba hawawezi kujipiga msasa wenyewe, wanahitaji mtu kutoka nje pia aweze kupiga msasa.
According to the Haji-led committee, the office holder will, however, be barred from investigating matters pending before the court or any tribunal.
Wakuendea iwapo una chochote ambacho haukipendi ama hakupendezi katika mahakama, ama kuna dhuluma fulani ambayo umepokea kwa sababu ulikuwa katika mahakama na unaona kwamba ni dhuluma. Kwa mfano kesi yako unaona haiendelei, unaona kuna makosa yanafanyika, una haki ya kwenda pale kwa ofisi ya ombudsman na kuteta.
The BBI has also proposed the tenure of Deputy Chief Justice to be 10 years, just like Chief Justice tenure. Currently, the Constitution is silent on the tenure of the Deputy Chief Justice. The report, however, proposes that Chief Justice can be an ordinary member of the Supreme Court.
Kwa hivyo, jopo la JSC linahitaji kuwajibika. Jopo la Parliamentary Service Commission linahitaji kuwajibika, lakini kwa sasa kuna mengi ambayo huwezi kuguza. Unaweza kuguza hili, kwa mfano ni rahisi kuguza judiciary kwa sababu hawezi kujitetea, hawezi kupiga kelele. Lakini ukisema unataka kuguza pia Parliamentary Service Commission, utapata kwamba wabunge wataanza kuteta na watataka kukubali hayo. Kwa hivyo BBI nafikiri wanaguza mahali ambapo wanaamini kwamba wanaweza kutekeleza, wanaweza kuwa na nafasi ya kufaulu.
Meanwhile, Parliament's leadership has called on Kenyans to read the report ahead of its official launch on Monday at the Bomas of Kenya, led by National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya and Senate's Majority Whip Irungu Kangata. The leadership has also cautioned Kenyans against relying on the political class to interpret the report for them.
Wherever you are, at home, at the workplace, or in social places, ask yourself, what's in it for me? And I'm sure you'll find something in it for each and every Kenyan. To emphasize, as members of Parliament, we strongly urge all Kenyans to read this report and read it for themselves. Do not let anyone mislead you about this report.
We have seen that has been captured in this BBI report. More counties are going to get more monies going forward once this BBI report is implemented. We are also happy with the proposal for Ward Development Fund.
The BBI report was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga on Wednesday. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47 Nairobi.
Elsewhere, beneficiaries of the Higher Education Loans Board may have a grace period of 4 years after graduating to start repaying the loan if the proposal by the Building Bridges initiative is effected. Abdul Rahim Hassan is among the recent graduates who have welcomed the proposal, saying it will help reduce the pressure a number of people have in repaying the loan. Sharon Baranga has that story.
My name is Abdul Rahim Hassan. I was a student at Maseno University pursuing Bachelor of Arts, International Relations and Diplomacy. I graduated last year in December with a second class upper. And since graduation, I've been trying to apply for jobs.
In his quest to hunt for jobs, Hassan did not limit himself to jobs in Kenya. He also sent out his application letters to companies in neighboring countries. One of the companies reached out to him.
So this was a job in Uganda. And the organization that I was to work with sent me the details. Late March, COVID-19 came, the country was closed down. I was supposed to report in April. That is when I was supposed to go for the job. So I could not go because the borders were closed. After that, I've been trying to apply for jobs. I've been sending my CVs, but most companies were like, we cannot employ people with this situation, with this corona situation.
Hassan, who lives in Kibras Makina area in Nairobi, then decided to start a small business to make ends meet.
I started selling bread after I got connections to my uncle who was supplying bread. And so I started selling bread. I started with 1 crate at that time. So after a few days, I increased my sales. And then I came to open this depot, which I'm running with my dad right now. For a day, we cannot miss to sell 10 crates. That is when it is so bad. But sometimes it even goes up to 20, up to 30. Yeah, depending on occasions. Because there are some occasions like funerals whereby they get bread in wholesale. They can take 10 to 15 crates. Apart from that, I have chicken at home that I've tried to keep me busy also.
Like many other beneficiaries of the HELB loan, Hassan felt relieved after learning that the Building Bridges initiative proposed a grace period of 4 years for all graduates to start repaying the loan after graduating. The report says in part, a loanee shall be required, subject to and in accordance with this act or any regulations made thereunder, not earlier than 4 years from the date of completion of his or her studies or such other later period as the board decides to recall its loan. End of quote.
So the total amount that I owe HELB as principal amount was 170,000, and there is that 6% interest per year. So as years goes by, the interest keeps on increasing. The BBI is proposing that HELB recipients should get a grace period of 4 years before they start repaying the loan. I think that is a good idea because most of the people, when they get out of campus, there's no job. So they're incapable of paying the loan.
Beneficiaries who will not have secured a job after the 4 years will be exempted from paying interest on the loans until when they get jobs.
Most people default from HELB not by their liking, but because of the large interest that has accrued after the many years that they have tarmacked. So to avoid such defaulters, I think it is a good idea that HELB adopts that law. And it will help most graduates because they will not have that pressure that now I've finished school, I have to pay loans first before I start building myself.
The proposal comes at a time when there are attempts to reduce the interest chargeable on HELB loan. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
You're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, here on the county's television. Keep talking to us. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Send us a message as well on 22047. Keep talking to us. Let me sample some of your feedback. Reverend Waweru says, kudos TV47. We are watching live and clear from Bungoma. Nixon from Kindaruma says, I have purposed to read the BBI myself, word by word, letter by letter, consulting experienced analyst only if need be. Anderson Mugendi says, watching TV47 News from Meru County. Mwangi SK says, so and so is still here telling us we changed the document he passed. Quinto says, watching TV47 from Busia County. Kemboi Chebei says, Nikondani, keep talking to us. Time for us to take a short break. We'll be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
Kuna Uhuru he is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gari.
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku. Usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
Kuna Uhuru he is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gari.
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku. Usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Thank you for staying with us here on the county's television. Let's get to more news now. And Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa and her co-accused Geoffrey Otieno will be detained till tomorrow and will spend the night in custody waiting for their bail application ruling. Justice Njoki Mwangi is on Friday set to determine if the duo will be freed on bail or not. They face murder charges. Maria Mwacharo reports.
Considering the time we are leaving court, the court will deliver a ruling tomorrow, 23rd October 2020 at 11:30 a.m.
Mombasa High Court Justice Njoki Mwangi came to this conclusion after several back and forth between the prosecution and the defense over the murder charges facing the two. Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa and her bodyguard Geoffrey Otieno will spend the night in police custody awaiting the bail ruling on Friday morning. The pair was arraigned in court over murder charges with their lawyers fighting to have them granted bail and released. The prosecution vehemently opposed the bail application. Lawyer Cliff Ombeta for the accused cited some of the incidents that delayed the court's decision over the case as intentional to the detriment of his clients.
We actually thought that this was a little bit weird because there is no way you can be able to come to court for a murder trial for somebody taking plea and you forget the most important document, which is document number 1, the mental assessment. This, for me, seemed intentional and purposeful. And when the investigating officer was also asked whether he has a copy of it, he said that he did not carry his file. How does an investigating officer not be able to carry his file? Because that's what is bringing him to court.
The MP and her bodyguard are facing murder charges following the death of one Gumbao Jola, who was shot dead during the Ganda Ward by-election on October 15th last year. Gumbao was the uncle of current Ganda Ward MCA Ruben Katana Mwarume. It has been a back and forth between the prosecution and the defense on the murder charges faced by Member of Parliament of Malindi Aisha Jumwa and her co-accused Geoffrey Otieno. However, tomorrow we shall know for sure whether she'll be granted bail or not. Maria Mwacharo, TV47, Mombasa County.
Now listen to this. Former Principal Secretary Lilian Omolo has been awarded 1 shilling, you heard it right, a bob in for unfair dismissal from office. The court said the amount is enough compensation for her removal in office. Mumbi Chege with the details.
The former Principal Secretary Lilian Omolo has been awarded a shilling compensation for wrongful termination from office. Yes, you heard it right, 1 Kenyan shillings. This is after she sued the government for unfair termination of her job when she was charged with corruption. Justice Stephen Radido, in his ruling, said that the amount is adequate compensation after unconstitutional removal from the government's payroll. Justice Radido said the government violated her constitutional rights and thus the award. According to the judge, Omolo, who's currently battling corruption charges, was not given reasons for the removal from office under the hand of the president, adding that she was only notified that her tenure had ended after her replacement had been appointed. Omolo was charged with corruption in 2018 and she was notified of her suspension on half salary while awaiting the completion of the charges. The former PS is facing corruption charges after she failed to explain her wealth. She has, however, filed an appeal against the decision of the High Court that ruled that her more than 33 million shillings in accounts are proceeds of corruption. Mumbi Chege, TV47.
Elsewhere, after the first Huduma number card samples were presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta on Tuesday during the Mashujaa Day celebrations, 10 individuals were selected as Huduma number ambassadors from Kisii South Sub-County with the task of creating awareness to Kenyans on Huduma number card. The 10 began creating awareness to Kisii locals last year on the card, and that is yet to start operations. Nano Chlorine reports.
Among the 10 persons selected as Huduma number ambassadors from Kisii South Sub-County with the task of creating awareness to Kenyans of the importance of the Huduma number was Reverend Lawrence Nyanuga.
Tulipotimia siku ya Mashujaa Day, tuliweza kuteuliwa watu 10 kwa sababu tulikuwa tumefanya kazi nzuri ya kuweza kueneza habari njema ya Huduma number. Tuweza kuteuliwa watu hao 10 kutoka kila sub-county, tuweza kuwakilisha siku hiyo baada ya wengine ambao tukapokea sample ya Huduma number.
Throughout last year, Lawrence and his partners began to create awareness awareness to locals in Kisii South on the importance of owning a Huduma card.
Tuliweza kuwa watu ambao kueleza watu kuhusu umuhimu tangu mwaka uliopita, umuhimu wa kuwa Mkenya mzuri, Mkenya anayetii, Mkenya anayefuata sheria, kusikia mwito wa rais ya kwamba kila mmoja mwaka huu na wakati huu tuwe na kadi ya muhimu ambayo ni ya digital, ambayo ni ya huduma namba, itaka tuwezesha mambo kuwa rahisi.
Hapana, tujakuwa tu rahisi kutumia huduma namba.
In an effort to assess whether he will be successful in accessing any services using the card, Lawrence says that the Huduma card has not helped him in any way.
Nimejaribu kuitumia kwenda kwa bank, nimeenda kwa M-Pesa, nimeenda kwa kila mahali ambao inaweza kunisaidia kwa sababu bali ya kuwa msaada kwangu. Hii ni kama mfano niko nao kwa mfuko wangu tu.
Apart from Lawrence, President Uhuru Kenyatta and First Lady Margaret Kenyatta were presented with samples of their Huduma cards on Tuesday. Nanok Lauren, TV47.
To some sad news and grief engulfed Jambo village in Karatina after a 35-year-old woman, her 10-year-old daughter and her niece were murdered by unknown attackers outside a shop. The three are said to have been strangled by their attackers at 11 a.m. this morning. Lynette Gidwa has the details.
Grief hit Jambo village in Mathira constituency, Nyeri County, after a 35-year-old woman, her 10-year-old daughter and niece were murdered by an unknown attacker inside the shop in broad daylight. Masi Gadhoni, Clyra Wanjira and Faith Wanjiru were murdered through strangulation by their attacker at 11 a.m. in the outskirts of Karatina town.
Kuna mama ako hapo amejinyonga. Nikakimbia. Sasa kukimbia hapa ndio nakuta sister yake anapiga duru, lakini vile nasikia watu wanasema sio kujinyonga juu mwenye amemuona kama ameanguka anatoa pofu ako kwa kitanda. Nao watoto wamelala hapa chini.
Following the incident, detectives have arrested a suspect said to be Gadhoni's ex-husband as they seek answers to the heinous incident. Confirming the incident, Nyeri County Police Commander Ediel Nyange, who visited the scene, said that the deceased had opened a shop as usual and was spotted basking in the sun together with her 10-year-old daughter.
Preliminary investigations done as revealed that the last time she was seen around 11 a.m. she was outside the shop basking on the sun and enjoying her freedom.
The suspect, who was arrested at the scene by the detectives, is being held at Karatina police station.
The three bodies were left lifeless inside the shop. We have managed to arrest one suspect who is assisting the police with investigations. I want to assure the members of public that we move with speed.
The bodies of the deceased were moved to Karatina District Hospital morgue. Lynette Gidwa, TV47.
May their souls rest in eternal peace. Let's get to Wajir County, and bee farmers in Butte sub-county are growing in large numbers and could contribute a huge amount of income to the county government of Wajir. The beekeepers, however, lack enough skills and support to operate the hives and manage the bees. Our very own Isadin Haji has toured the bee farms that are now challenged by droughts that is turning sweet harvests into bitter losses.
We traveled hundreds of miles on a rough path to Butte town to meet bee farmers. This is Ahmed Hussein, a retired teacher who has ventured into bee farming. He also runs a poultry farm, but largely depends on the bees. Ahmed owns the largest bee field in Butte, northern Wajir, and transports his harvest to as far as the national capital, Nairobi.
One hive produces 15,000 in every season. Once you harvest twice, you are sure of harvesting twice. It is 30,000. The beehives are more valuable than our traditional camels.
Some of the beekeepers in Butte are supported by organizations with beehives. Ahmed is lucky to have this bee house built for him. But most of them here still use traditional hives, but the hives rarely accommodate bees as a result of external threats.
Invasion of animals, both domestic and wildlife. Like some of these trees have actually been invaded by wildlife, by our animals, and because of failing to have our fencing, actually the security is always in danger.
The capacity of the farmers is still low. The courage, the energy, the zeal is there. But then the capacity is still, there is need to give them adequate support to ensure that both by the government and other state actors.
Many beekeepers here lack the skills and training to manage the hives, which makes it difficult to have convincing harvests. The process of beekeeping in this region is coupled with lack of skills and necessary environmental conditions to operate these hives. What makes it more difficult is the raging drought that could even make the survival of the bees almost impossible. That notwithstanding, the farmers chose to move on.
Very aggressive.
Naiba Hassan operates Bute Smart Farm. She has been doing this for years now. Within this month, she harvested over 200 kilograms of honey, but fears for the bees' survival during this tough time of drought, compromising her future harvest.
When drought affects every part of the trees, there will be no flowering. As long as there are no flowers, production will go down. So we maintain the bees by giving them, with the help of the livestock department, we give them sugar just to make it not to run away or to die.
The drought season takes away major resources amongst pastoral communities. This town used to run short of water during the drought season, but with the interventions made by the constituency office, it now has water flowing through these pipes from the rigid rocks of this land.
7 boreholes have already been drilled through the efforts of the national government, thanks to Ministry of Water and various state corporations that have supported us in these activities.
Lifeless trees, a lack of green pigment and flowers in the environment is a clear indication of bee life uncertainty. But the handsome honey harvest during good seasons gives hope to this type of farming. And during such unfavorable seasons, the farmers have no option but to feed the bees with their own honey to help them subsist the drought. Esadin Haji, TV47, Bute Sub-County, Wajir North.
Thank you, Esadin Haji, for that report. Moving on, the BBI report released on October 21st, 2020 has received mixed reactions. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, KMPDU, has expressed opposition to the BBI unless the process is restarted and their views incorporated in full. KMPDU officials claim the report handed over to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga omitted the formation of the Health Service Commission like they had recommended.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union have expressed their lack of support for the BBI report after it failed to address the challenges their members face. KMPDU is calling for the establishment of an independent National Health Commission in a bid to alleviate their remuneration and challenges under their county governments.
Tumeona ripoti ya BBI ambayo imetoka. Miaka iliyopita tumekuwa na shida kwenye sekta ya afya. Na wakati walileta huu mjadala wa BBI wakisema ya kwamba umekuja kushughulikia nini shida za historia ambazo zinakumba Kenya. Na sisi kama wahudumu wa afya tulipeana maoni yetu na tukasema kwamba iwapo tunataka kushughulikia shida ambazo zimetukumba sisi, lazima tutengeneze kitu kinaitwa nini? Health Service Commission. Sasa maoni tuliyoyatoa leo hii tumeshtuka kwamba ile ripoti ambayo imetolewa ni tofauti sana na maoni ambayo tuliyopeana. Tumeshindwa kuelewa hii ripoti ambayo imetolewa imetoka pande gani, iwapo maoni yenye tulipeana sio hivi. Hawa wahudumu wa afya wote wameumia sana wakiwa chini ya uongozi ya gatuzi 47 zenye ziko Kenya hii. Na ndivyo maana waliamua kwamba wanafaa kurudi kwa serikali ya juu ikiongozwa na Health Service Commission.
Well, you're watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Time for us to take another short break. We will be back with more news after this break. Stay tuned.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gari.
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku, usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gari.
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku, usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gari.
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku, usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu.
Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Let's get to some regional but international news. An Agroecology Summit 2020 is being held in Kigali, Rwanda as a pathway toward sustainable food security and unlocking business opportunities for the youth. Our Rwandan correspondent Diana Iriza has the details.
Through the Agroecology Summit, agricultural experts have called for new measures to engage the Rwandan youth in agriculture transformation to help meet national food demand, considering that young people in the country have historically shunned the sector. I spoke to some of the youth participating in the summit to share with us what hinders the Rwandan youth from getting involved in agriculture.
Well, youth think agriculture is not really attractive, and they can't make money from it because everybody is saying when you do agriculture you get money, but it may take times, but they really don't know the secret behind doing agriculture. It's really a sustainable business, and the government is doing its job to engage youth in agriculture.
Doing agriculture as a lady mostly has many benefits. I'm not like having much income, but I'm planning to have it in some years. Agriculture has market. It is a project that can take a long time and can benefit.
According to officials at the event, agroecology is one of the approaches to sustainable farming and focuses on food production that makes the best use of nature's resources while preserving them.
AgriProFocus is the big network, and we have a number of partners. So we have involved our partners to engage their members. So we are not focusing on youth. We are instead focusing on every single youth who is already taking a step to do something around agroecology. And that's why we intend to empower such kind of initiatives and businesses in different directions.
AgroProFocus Rwanda under Youth in Agroecology and Business Learning Track Africa initiative organized the Youth in Agroecology National Summit 2020 in collaboration with different partners, including the Rwanda Youth in Agribusiness Forum. Diana Iriza, Kigali, Rwanda.
Sports, brought to you by 555bet.
Let's get to some sports news now. And President Uhuru Kenyatta has commissioned the construction of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Sports Complex In Kisumu, shortly after renaming it from Jomo Kenyatta Sports Ground, the stadium, which will cost 350 million shillings, is set to be complete in 6 months' time. Once complete, the sports facility, which will be the second in Kisumu after the Moi Stadium, will have a 30,000 capacity.
Quality workmanship only. Yeah?
The substructures, you can see right here, the substructure marks
Moving on, marathon world record holder Eliud Kipchoge has affirmed his commitment to make comeback in the race ahead after an underwhelming performance at the London Marathon earlier this month. The 35-year-old revealed that he was taking time to recover, promising his fans an explosive return.
As much as my fans and my friends wanted me to win, this time around it was not to be. In such a scenario, one can do two things. One is to mourn the loss and despair and never to compete again. Secondly, is to train harder and build the strength. If you mourn and despair, two things can happen. You lose what you have built over many years and miss the future opportunities to come back stronger and better. If you train harder and build strength.
Well, the king promises that he will be back. Who are we to doubt? After all, the kingdom is his. Financial setbacks have continued to hinder the growth of Kenyan grassroots football for decades and counting. And the situation is no better in Trans Nzoia County, where stakeholders are now calling on Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa to grow the beautiful game in the counties. Boniface Barasa reports.
This is Makoi Playground in Trans Nzoia East Sub-County, where we meet with players, FKF officials during a tournament organized by Sports Enthusiast Clover Samisi. Despite their love for sports, it is evident sports in rural Kenya is faced with a myriad of challenges, key among them inadequate funding owing to the scarcity of sponsors. Oscar Enea is the FKF Secretary General Trans Nzoia branch.
Changamoto kuu ambayo imekuweko ni ufadhili. Timu zetu zimekuwa na upungufu wa vifaa vya michezo kama vile mipira, sare za kuchezea na vile vile malipo ya marefa, na hiyo ndio imekuwa shida kubwa ya vilabu vyetu ambao viko mashinani. Kwa hivyo tunaamini ya kuwa lengo lake hasa litaafikiwa baada ya timu kutoka eneo hili kuweza kufika katika ngazi ya juu zaidi.
Lack of standard playing fields is a huge challenge that teams grapple with. Majority of them relying on school grounds for training and matches, a major setback in nurturing talents.
Tunategemea viwanja vya shule, na mara nyingi hizi shule zetu zinakapofunguliwa inakuwa ni ngumu zaidi kujenga talanta zetu. Kwa hivyo nia na safari tunayoenda ni lazima tukifika kule mbele tuwe na uwanja ambao uko maalum kwa sababu ya kujenga talanta zetu, isipokuwa kuwahusisha wanafunzi wetu. Na pia uwanja japo ni wa shule, lakini hali zake pia iko duni, na kupata ile dhamani kamili ya mchezaji inahitaji pia uwanja ambao umestaarabika zaidi.
Rallying calls also have been issued to football stakeholders to give more focus to women football that has often come second to men football.
Ni dada zetu hawaja kuwa wakipata fursa sana ya kujiunga na kucheza michezo kama ambayo tumeweka katika wakati huu. Wako na hiyo talanta, wako na nia na wako na sababu, lakini wanapokosa ufadhili na matumaini, inakuwa ni kwamba tunapata changamoto kwa watoto wetu. Lakini sasa nimesema katika safari yangu ya kuweza kujenga talanta zetu mitaani, dada zetu watakuwa mstari wa mbele, na nitahakikisha ya kwamba wanafika kiwango ambacho wao wenyewe na ndoto zao zinaweza kuwafikisha.
Watoto wasichana tusiposimama na hawa, kisimama na michezo, tuwaweke busy, always watakuwa kiwanjani, na tukipata hela tutaweza kuwasaidia wasipate ujauzito wa haraka ama wasiingie kwa tabia zile mbaya.
During the tournament, Chematich FC emerged victorious by defeating Scheme FC in post-match penalties. All the 17 teams were awarded with cash and other presents in the tournament. Boniface Barasa, TV47 Sports, Trans Nzoia County.
Sports, brought to you by 555bet.
Well, you are watching the county's television, and that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi. Let me sample some of your views. Shadrach Shuka from Nandi says TV47 Tukombele. Amsimiyu says he's watching from Matunda Konambaya. Ronald Lagat on Facebook says Elda Maravin watching TV47 live. Mwangi SK says tuned. Enos Omodi says following TV47 News at 9 p.m. Well, thank you for watching on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible. Tonight of all nights, good night, God bless, and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Or complaints about our news or any of our programming content, please get in touch with us on telephone number 0740 047 047 or write to us on maoni@tv47.co.ke. PO Box 2358 00621, Nairobi, Kenya. Or you can visit us at our office number 10, Ojijo Close, off Ojijo Road, Parklands, Nairobi, Kenya.